according to Joe Biden, it's still not an absolute right, despite what the text says. No, that right is subject to his approval and his interpretation. Joe Biden is in charge of the Constitution now. Joe Biden defines its terms. And Joe Biden has decided that something called stabilizing braces can no longer be allowed. Now, a stabilizing brace is used by target shooters to hold heavy firearms. They play zero role in the murder epidemic now underway in our cities. Then why is Joe Biden...
Alright, this is exactly what I was talking about. I said this a year ago. I knew exactly why he was going after these types of braces. There's absolutely nothing to do with this brace that makes it a fully automatic, that makes it a machine gun. There's nothing dangerous about it or anything like that. It's just they're very popular. Over 40 million people popular. And that's registered gun owners. So he's trying to make this into... He's basically trying to make it to where you'll get a felony if you have it, if you get caught with it. And if that ain't on fucking purpose, I don't know what is.
Without the approval of Congress. Probably because up to 40 million law-abiding Americans own this device. And under this order, Joe Biden's order, every one of those people will have to alert federal authorities and pay hundreds of dollars in fines for the crime of owning a harmless piece of plastic that was legal yesterday. And if they don't comply, Joe Biden's federal authorities can then drag them off in handcuffs, seize their property, and charge them with a felony. So with a single stroke of a pen, Joe Biden just turned tens of millions of overwhelmingly Republican voters into criminals. Is it starting to make sense now? Think about that for a minute, and you'll begin...
Exactly. Is it starting to make sense to you now? Is it starting to make sense to you now? People called me fucking crazy. They called me insane. They called me whatever you call those people that run with shit that isn't ever going to happen. Guess what? It's fucking happening. They are trying. They're trying their damnedest. Okay, they can't come for your guns, right? They'll never be able to come for your guns. Okay, but if they make something illegal like that and they turn you into a felon, guess what? Bam. You have no guns now. Why do you think I preach to people all the time about how it ain't right that they take felons' guns rights away? Non-violent felons. That shit was on purpose too. 1962 made that all the possible in the world, because there's a lot of people out here that didn't even know they committed a felony, and now they ain't got no choice but to plead guilty.
To understand why the Democratic Party is so focused on what they call weapons of war. You might know them as semi-automatic small-caliber sporting rifles that normal people use for hunting and target shooting and home defense. Here's the thing that you should know, and again, don't take our word for it, look it up. No subject...
Let's talk about weapons of war for a minute. And I hate the fact that he calls weapons of war. AR-15s and stuff isn't particularly weapons of war. AK-47s, that was a fucking weapon of war. M60s was a weapon of war. 50 caliber sniper rifles was a weapon of war. M4, M16s, those were weapons of war. The AR-15 was not necessarily built for war. Not necessarily. You damn sure could do it with it. You damn sure could go with it, and you could pop a lot of people with it. But nobody buys these motherfuckers, wanting to commit crimes and shit like that. They either use it for hunting, or they're waiting for somebody to fucking come and try to take their families away and try to hurt them in some type of way.
Is more carefully cataloged than gun violence. Guns like this, these so-called weapons of war, play no meaningful role in crime. Virtually all gun murders in this country are committed with handguns. A small number of people, again, provable, a small number of people are responsible for most of the violence, and they use a small variety of weapons to commit it. Those weapons are not rifles. Here are the numbers. According to the most recent data from the FBI, firearms were involved in a total of 10,258 homicides in 2019, the last year for which data are available. Fewer than 500 out of more than 10,000 of those homicides were committed with rifles. Rifles of all kinds, including so-called weapons of war. So criminals don't use rifles. They're not concealable. Maybe that's why. In fact, more people were murdered with knives than with rifles. So if you actually cared about making the country safer, keeping people from getting murdered, You would target handguns in big cities. That's where the murders are. That's where the violence is. But the Biden administration is doing the opposite of this, the mirror image of this. The Biden administration is letting big city criminals go. People who use guns for violence are walking out of jail. And instead, the Biden administration is using, and you saw it today, the full force of government to disarm peaceful voters in zip codes that voted for Donald Trump.
This is where it gets creepy, too. And this is where it all starts to fall into place. And it starts to fall into place very fucking well. Okay, you know some of the biggest murder capitals in the world. They're letting those people fucking go. But he's literally targeting the AR-15s that are in counties that the murder rate isn't all that fucking bad. And the bad thing is he's targeting gun owners that do everything by the book. That's who he's fucking targeting. And the guy that he's got about to be fucking running the ATF or the ATE, whatever they're about to fucking call it, this is some scary fucking shit right here, because this motherfucker is off his goddamn meds.
It is that simple. Today, Biden announced that he wants to ban what he calls assault weapons. He's speaking about the AR-15, which is the single most popular sporting rifle in America. So the question is, if we banned so-called assault weapons, would the country become safer? That's the only question that matters. And we don't need to guess about the answer, because we've tried this before. Under Bill Clinton, for 10 full years, we banned assault rifles. And then, by law, the Department of Justice studied the effects. So we know the effect. And you, again, can look it up if you want. It didn't work. In fact, once that ban expired in 2004, gun homicides fell in almost every major city. So policies like this one are unhinged from reality, to put it gently. So to enforce them, Joe Biden has nominated a man who is unhinged from reality. His name is David Chipman, and he will now run the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, an agency that Joe Biden referred to today as the AFT.
Today, did you know that in Texas, rifles can be carried in public without a license, whereas in Florida, no open...
Today, I'm proud to nominate David Chipman.
David Chipman is an absolute psycho. He is fucking crazy, and I can't believe that he's actually putting him in charge of
families from the crime wave that David Chipman's party has unleashed on the country.
They might think that they're diehard, ready to go, but unfortunately they're more like Tiger King, and they're putting themselves and their families in danger. And so what I would suggest is for those people who were first-time gun owners, if they did...
He literally says, oh, if you're a first-time gun owner, put your guns back and wait for the zombie apocalypse. Like there ain't murders happening every fucking day. Like there ain't people breaking into people's fucking houses, raping their fucking kids, taking their kids off the street. We get Amber Alerts all the fucking time. Don't you think if we had more guns around, less shit would fucking happen? I'll tell you some real fucking truth right here. You get a lot of fucking guns around, you have a fucking gun society, you have a more polite society. Because you never know when all hell could pop off. You could run up in a church and try to kill every fucking body. Next thing you know, you got Smith & Wesson's 45s and ARs pointed right at your fucking face. That's how you keep crime down. You don't do all this fucking tuck and nanny bullshit that we're doing today. That's the reason the crime is so fucking bad these days. Real fucking crime. Real crime. I'm not talking about these people that become felons one time, get their whole rights taken away. I'm talking about real crime. Fucking armed robbery every 5 seconds. Somebody killed fucking a dude for wearing blue on the fucking street. We got senseless fucking crime out here happening every fucking day. And you make some of the best people into felons. And now you're about to try to make millions of people into felons. And I don't know, once you become a felon, you're a ward of the state. They own your fucking ass. And you can't tell me this ain't on fucking purpose. You can't fucking tell me. And this motherfucker's gonna say, put your guns back. Don't worry about touching them. Blah, blah. Okay, somebody breaks into your fucking house. What are you gonna do? Hold on, let me go in my cabinet and get all my cans out and shit. Listen to this dumbass shit. Y'all follow my YouTube. I'm gonna let it end on the video, but y'all follow me. I appreciate
go out and buy a gun. I would secure that gun locked and unloaded and hide it behind the cans of tuna and beef jerky that you've stored in a cabinet and only bring that out if the zombies start to appear, and I don't think they are.
Parties certainly are making gun violence.
They're already here. The zombies are already fucking here. All these people that voted these fucking people in. I told y'all this shit would happen. A bunch of us fucking told y'all it would fucking happen. And we still got people out here marching, screaming, racial injustice, blah, blah, blah. Don't y'all want to have a safer fucking America? Ain't it about fucking time? Because shit was alright and pretty safe when we wasn't under fucking King's rule.